Hi folks, good afternoon. This is day 8, believe it or not, of our daily hymns in the afternoon. And gee, I picked out a lot of hymns today. And I have a few different things to talk about, I think. I think I'll just start though with a hymn. I'm not going to play straight to it. I'm going to play a hymn and talk a little bit about what I'm doing or what if I have something to say. So the first hymn I'm going to play is a hymn I did not grow up with. I didn't check, but I do not think it's in the Episcopal hymnal. I didn't really look up much about this song at all, except I didn't grow up with it, and I've always liked it. His Eye is on the Sparrow. A lot of people know that one. I'll just play His Eye is on the Sparrow. His Eyes on the Sparrow. And, I mentioned the Episcopal hymnal, and you're like, what are you talking about? This is a broadcast for St.James UCC on Walnut and 15th Street in Allentown. I'm the organist there. And, but I have a very ecumenical background. And I mentioned the Episcopal hymnal because that is the hymnal I grew up singing in. And it wasn't even my family's church, because when I was in 4th grade, I defected from my family's church participation and joined a men and boys choir in an Episcopalian church in New Brunswick, New Jersey. It was a very formative experience with an excellent organist and choir director. And, I walked in there and right away I'm singing Latin and all these classical pieces in a men and boys choir setting, rehearsing 3 times a week. It was a big time commitment. And today's theme is I'm going to play a lot of my favorite hymns, and I tried to find most of them in the UCC hymnal, not outside of the UCC hymnal. Some of them are, and I won't get to them all either. But another thing is, yesterday I was talking about my family's history, and yes, I grew up Episcopalian, but my family has a Presbyterian and strong Dutch Reformed history, and I was talking about that a little bit. It was my 2 great uncles, I believe, that went to the theological seminary at Rutgers in New Jersey, And they were actually headed for, the story goes, they were headed for Presbyterian Theology School in Princeton, and they stayed in New Brunswick. And I was speculating about the theology school there. I wasn't sure. The Dutch Reformed Church is not called that anymore. It's the Reformed Church of America. A lot of the Dutch Reformed congregations were taken up by the UCC. I looked up UCC, and the United Church of Christ has its confessional roots in the Congregational Church, the Lutheran Church, and the Reformed Church. So there's a relationship there. But the Theological School at Rutgers is a Reformed Church of America theological school. So I wanted to clear that up because I was kind of babbling yesterday about that when I, by surprise, discovered that my whole broadcast didn't go online and I had to redo it. Kind of flummoxed me a little bit, and I started talking about things I hadn't planned to talk about. Very dangerous online to talk about things you don't really fully think about, and even if you think about it, it's a hazardous business to speak anything online. So anyway, His Eyes on the Sparrow. I love that melody. There's a popular Christian artist named Audrey Assad, and she did a recording based on that hymn called, it might just be called Sparrow, but Audrey Assad has a lovely recording based on that hymn. His Eye on the Sparrow made me think of another hymn that I love, and it's a hymn that is similar. It's kind of chromatic. This hymn was in the hymnal in the Episcopal Church growing up, but my church choir director did not like it. He was very Anglican. He wanted to hear hymns that reflected the Anglican aesthetic, and this hymn did not in his mind. And I remember thinking, well, I really respect my choir director, but I also know that there's a world outside of his aesthetic, and which I love. I'm a real Anglophile. But when morning gilds the sky, and I got to know this hymn when I was visiting as a child in Rochester at my Uncle Ken's house and Aunt Shirley, and they had a wonderful old pump organ. It was just like, I don't know, like a calliope thing, this big black old organ that you had to pump while you played, and I latched onto this hymn and was pecking it out on the organ, and I just loved it and have loved it ever since. So when morning gilds the sky. This is in the key of B flat. It has two flats. I always want to add a flat when I'm playing in B flat. I don't know why. Let's try it again. Okay, lovely hymn. I hope that the correct notes were played beautifully. I'm an adult learner on the piano. I talked about this yesterday on the broadcast that didn't go online, so I'll talk about it again. I'm a musician. I'm very musical. I love sound. Some of the music I listen to would actually disturb some people. I have been moved to tears by music that sounds like a refrigerator motor. I love sound, organized sound. Music is organized sound, and um, I have a very wide palette of interest in sound. Um, the sound of a distant train horn, hearing it before you know what it is in the distance. There's a moment when you don't know what it is, and your brain is calculating that sound, and you're like, what is that? That's a very beautiful moment to me. Um, so I love sounds and I love music, and I'm very musical. I'm a musician. I grew up playing the clarinet. I could pick up a clarinet and play along with anybody. I've always had improvisational skills on a one note at a time instrument. But when I started playing the piano, that's a very complicated skill. Took lessons as a kid. I was not disciplined. I didn't practice regularly. I did not learn to read at the piano, even though I know how to read music. Did not learn how to read up to 10 notes at a time, instant, off the music. Didn't learn that discipline. That's, for me, an adult acquired skill. And it's been a long process. 10 years ago, my sister Pam could attest. I used to play at her house. And I mean, I could barely get through things to play them because I just wasn't a piano reader. But I was determined to make it and to have some skills at the piano. Being a school teacher helped a great deal. But I'm still a nervous player. I black out. I black out when I'm playing. If I make a mistake, I just black out, and then I can't get back on track. I'm getting better at it. So, enough gab about that. But I love the piano. I also play a little guitar. Anyway, I'm going to change the subject now because we need to hear some more music. Playing these two hymns got me thinking about some of my favorite hymns. And the other week I mentioned, or a few days ago, I mentioned the hymn Hyfrydal or Hyfrydal. It's a funny word. It's a Welsh word, and I once heard a documentary on this hymn, and it was by Welsh people, and I forget how they pronounced it. It's a funny word. It could be Hyfrydal, Hyfrydal, Hyfrydal. I want to guess that it's Hyfrydal, but I don't know for sure. It's the name of the tune, and it's a very popular tune. It's 4 times in this hymnal. It's in this hymnal 4 times with 4 different word settings, but it doesn't seem to be a hymn that my fellow congregants at St. James know. I've played it a few times there, and they don't know it. You know, they just never heard it. But it's a very popular tune because even in this hymnal, it's 4 times used. So this is possibly, and I say possibly because I don't like to say definitively, but it's kind of officially my favorite hymn. So if I can find it, I've got the labels here. Let's see. Here it is. No? Oh dear. Now, dead time is horrible. So sorry. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is. I'm going to play it out of the Episcopal hymnal because that's the arrangement I grew up with. And so, here we go. Hyfrydal. Jesus are the words there. Oh, I love that hymn. Okay, so let's do another one. What did I pick? Okay, now we're getting into some hymns that were very popular in my growing up. But still, I'm going to stick in my UCC hymnal. Let's see. Okay. This hymn, I'm going to play Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. It's number 1 in the UCC hymnal. And it's the first hymn. It's the first hymn in our hymnal. And I was excited to see it. And when I played it, I was like, oh, I know this melody, and I like this melody. But it's not the melody I grew up with. So I'm going to play this one that my fellow congregants at St. James know, and then I will play the one I grew up with the same words. Praise my soul, the King of Heaven. In D major, 2 sharps. That's for me. Let's try it again. Do it again. Praise my soul, King of heaven, to his feet your tribute bring, ransomed, healed, restored, forgiven, Okay. Sometimes I play better when I sing, and I have to go through this nervous with you, and I need to make a lot of mistakes one day, like today, because I need to get more relaxed with you. So I picked a lot of hymns. A lot of these are a little hard to play, and I didn't practice them a lot. Working musician, it doesn't work if you have to practice everything you play, because you have to be playing above that level. Your practice level has to be a little below your playing level, or else it's like listening to a student. So, okay, praise my soul, the King of Heaven. This is what I grew up with. Same words. One of my favorite hymn tunes. Praise my soul, the King of heaven. Should be played softer. A lot of these should be quieter. Should be played faster. A lot of these hymns they're dance tunes. A lot of music is from dance. They have the rhythm to dance, the beat to dance. They don't have a beat, they have nothing. So anyway, I got through that one for you. Let's do another one. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I discovered that the same words in the UCC church hymnal, in the celebration hymnal, Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven, is also suggested to be sung with the tune Regent Square. Regent Square is a hymn tune I grew up with. I thought, oh, I like that one, I'm sure. I remember that name. So I went to Regent Square. So here's another hymn. In this hymnal, it's Christ has made the sure foundation. I don't know what words we sang growing up, but this is a popular hymn from my childhood, and it's in our hymnal. B flat again. Okay, that's enough of that. Love that hymn. So, as you can see, hymn tunes and melodies are traded around a lot. And I mentioned a few days ago, you can tell by the meter. You can go to any hymn, right here in our UCC hymnal. Regent Square, the meter is 8.7 point, 8.7 point, 8.7 point. It's a number, single digit or double digit, then a dot. Number, dot, number, dot. And those numbers, any hymn with those numbers can be interchanged melody and words. So if you have a wedding coming up and you have favorite hymn words and you want a different melody, go to your hymnal and look for all, in the back there's an index that will tell you all the meters under each, all the hymns under each meter. So you can go to the meter you're looking for, find the melody that you want for your favorite words for your daughter's wedding or whatever. So that's a neat thing to know. So let's see what else we have here. I'll just go to this. What is this? Okay. This tune is Austrian Hymn, another hymn I grew up with, also in our book here. Possibly not a hymn that my fellow congregants at UCC know. There's a lot of hymns here. We don't sing all the hymns. So, praise the Lord, ye heavens adore him. E flat major, 3 flats. Try it again if I can be more relaxed. Let's try it again. Praise the Lord, ye heavens adore him. Praise the angels above. praise the Lord, ye heavens, adore him. I'm curious how many of these are known by my friends at St. James. So let's see, what else do we have here? Holy, holy, holy. Okay, this one we sing at St. James, and this one is a wonderful one. I also loved growing up. It was a very formative experience, you know, singing at that men and boys choir. So exciting to be exposed to all this music and singing in a fine choir. We sang at St. John Divine in a men and boys choir festival with hundreds of men and boys. And the St. John Divine Cathedral is the largest interior cathedral space in the world. And I was, I don't know, 5th or 6th grade, and we're in this cathedral that's monstrous in New York City. And when we sang, when we stopped a phrase or ended our piece, you could hear the sound of the choir rolling down the church space like a huge bowling ball or globe. It was so unbelievable to me as a child. You could hear the sound as one big ball rolling down the nave of St. John Divine. And it was a very impressionable experience. And then going to church every week and listening to the sermon. I took the sermons very seriously as a child. And I remember I was one of the head trebles, the boy trebles. So I sat at the top of in the center of the semicircle. And at the other side of the center, across the little aisle, was a friend, David, who was in the choir. He went to school with me. He didn't want anybody to know he was in this choir because it was embarrassing to him as a kid. He loved singing in it, but it was a little embarrassing to him because it was a little bit of an emotional kind of maybe a little girly to a little boy to sing treble in a boys' choir. And he was a great guy. We had fun together. But he would look right at me during the sermon and try to distract me because he was like, what is this dude listening to the sermon for? I mean, I was listening to every word of every sermon, and I knew he would be staring at me once in a while. He'd be like just deadpanning me, waiting to break me. And I was like, no. And we had a good relationship. It wasn't there was not animosity. But I was like, no, he's not going to get me into this game. I'm listening to the sermon, and so it was a formative experience. So anyway, what am I doing? I'm rambling. So holy, holy, holy in D major. Okay, holy, holy, holy. I've never looked to see if I can see. Oh, we've been on for 31 minutes. Okay, this is our longest broadcast to date. So that's okay. I'll play one more. So let's see. Morning. What is that? Oh, morning was broken. Well, all right. Let's not sit here and waste time. I'll do All Creatures of Our God and King. Outside the other day, I did For the Beauty of the Earth, and I confused this hymn with that. You know, I conflate favorite music. I became an absolute lover of Sibelius symphonies when I was in my 20s, late teens, and his symphony number 4, 5, 6, and 7 were so beautiful to me that for almost 10 years, when I listened to any of those 4 symphonies, I would get lost and forget which of those 4 symphonies I was listening to. I'm talking 10 years. And I knew these symphonies intimately as listening experiences because I was so moved by them. For years I listened to them. I danced to them. I cried to them. I sang to them. I played to them with my clarinet or my recorder. But yet, I conflated the 4 symphonies, especially 3 of them, because it was just like one huge festival of Sibelius sound that I loved so much. So, anyway, All Creatures of Our God and King makes me think of For the Beauty of the Earth. Okay. Okay, a lot of music, a lot of sloppy playing, but you're helping me to loosen up and play a little music live. It's a new thing for me. And you say, really? You play every week at St. James. A multitude of error can be covered by the organ. And they all well know it. But I play with my heart, and I'm learning, and I love playing on the organ. The organ at St. James is an Aeolian Skinner. It's a very fine instrument, and it's the same brand from Boston that George Huddleston played on his own designed 4-bank organ with a huge selection of pipes that he had designed for Christ Church in New Brunswick, where I sang in the Men and Boys Choir. Yeah, it's a good organ at St. James. It's a beautiful instrument. So, it's been lovely to chat and play for you today, and with you, and for you, and for your for your moment here in these shut-in times. I'll cut it at that for now and close with the servant song.